was quizzical, studied metaphysical science, late nights all alone with a test tube.
By discussing the thing that matters most to its success, or to
majoring in medicine, calls her. Can I take you out to the pictures, John? As she's getting ready to go, a knock comes on the door. Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down on her head. Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer made sure that she was dead.
We're going to talk about innovation and its vital nature. If you've taken the FDI course, you've received a lot of and of course yesterday Dushan talked about competitiveness, competitive firms, and the need to be innovative to meet the... Now we're going to isolate the subject of innovation for the rest of the afternoon and talk with you a little bit about it. The reason for this is that if you are going to promote competitiveness in your territories, in your regions, in your cities, you must be working on promoting the innovative capacity of both your region and the firms that live in your region. Remember, I said you're the leaders. You're the ones who want to inspire the ideas that will work. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in this country who talk about innovation, don't know anything about it. And if they know about it, they often don't think about it as a cost-benefit type of economic good that you have to pay for, and therefore you have to have good results from what you spend. And so that's why I need you to understand a little bit more than everyone else does about the topic of innovation. I'm going to simplify because I am a simple person. There is, when the discussion goes to innovation, many people talk about the business of innovation. And what they mean in the worst sense is blockbuster innovation, the kinds of things that change the world. They mean the atom bomb that basically changed the entire world. They mean the computer that IBM finally, after years and years, developed. And in the Soviet Union, there were computers developed. They mean those blockbuster types of innovations that completely shatter what existed before. And every scientist who thinks he's brilliant dreams of creating this kind of blockbuster innovation and winning a Nobel Prize. But we can probably count on our fingers and toes the number of blockbuster innovations there have been since 1850. Generally, how do they come? They come through the help of government laboratories, government basic research. For instance, Singapore has built the largest computer in the world. Billions of dollars to build this thing. And they hope that over another 20, 30 years, there will be blockbuster types of innovations that come out of that computer. Switzerland has built the biggest reactor in the world, atom reactor. They think that they are going to be able, perhaps with that reactor, to figure out how to create fusion energy, which is the opposite of fission energy, but it's fusion energy. It forces atoms together in order to produce energy. In the Soviet times, the Soviets were the first to develop the internet. They developed it through spending in their government laboratories because they had a military-industrial complex and they were trying to figure out how to beat America. Huge amounts of money go into blockbuster innovation. Also, governments sponsor university laboratories, the kind that Dushan, I believe, probably spoke about yesterday. Generally, this kind of innovation that's done for the business of innovation is simply that money is spent in order to be creative and new. On a smaller scale, we've heard a lot, all the time. People talk about it in this country, they talk about it in America, they talk everywhere about incubators and technoparks. That Alexander Dubka spoke about it yesterday. The idea behind that is you can put a bunch of scientists together in a good situation, and they will invent something that they think the world needs. Do you see what I mean? I mean, these are scientists. These are our husbands and our wives who sit together and say, the world needs this. I can invent this product. Just I need some money to go, and so I want to sit in an incubator and invent this brand new product. What do you think the success rate is for the best incubator in the world, or the best techno park in the world? High, that a lot of good things come out of it, or low, that maybe only 10% of what's spent actually produces something of value? So lots of businessmen will take the risk. They'll put money into a techno park, they'll put money into an incubator with the hope that the returns will be blockbuster returns, something absolutely huge. But is that a way to build innovation in a society, in a country, in a territory? If you are talking, is that the way? Is that the policy you want to follow to build innovation in a territory, country, or a community? Invest in high technology, hope that something of high risk and low probability of success will come out, and spend a lot of money on it. Right. But yet you hear so much in this country and other countries, in developing countries, even in China, which should know better, about dumping lots of money into their basic science, lots of money into incubators and technoparks in order to build high-tech blockbuster innovation. But when you hear a conversation about innovation, please remember, everyone else is going to be talking about this side, the business of innovation, how to put some money in to build a big return. That's the business of innovation. Don't talk about that. Say, okay, that's one type of thing that rarely works. Let me talk about something else. I don't say that because that side is not useful. I say that because in your jobs, where you work on local economic development, on local competitiveness, you probably will never have any success on this side of the board. What you are equipped to do as government officials or as people who attract investment is more to have an impact if you concentrate on an innovation of this type. That's not blockbuster innovation.
Отож, це не проривні, не революційні інновації.
That's what's better called incremental innovation.
Їх краще назвати незначні або поступові інновації.
By companies that simply want to build a better product or want to reduce their costs and thereby reduce their costs of production, because that's what Dushan has defined as competitiveness. And with you today, we'll talk about how you can actually impact the growth of this kind of incremental, business firm-oriented innovation. I get my chance again to talk about my best friend Drucker. Drucker, he's the father of management. He knows how businesses succeed. And what he says about innovation in business, that is business innovation, is it's simple. It's not a blockbuster high-tech sort of innovation. You say about it, why did I think of that? Of course I couldn't have thought of that. And it's focused. That is, it looks at the invention or innovation not just for the sake of making something nice and new, but for the sake of selling it on a market, making money from the investment. And by the way, Mr. Drucker died in 2005. He was in his 90s. He thought of these ideas in the 50s and the 40s. He's not any sort of new Google type of guy. He was thinking about these issues a long time ago. And usually, at least in the manufacturing industry, this kind of business innovation comes in manufacturers that are medium to low tech. And they come from what I'd like to talk a little bit about. They come from basically a management style, a leadership style, of optimism, of creativity throughout the entire organization, of building an organization that is destined, that its sole purpose is to create new, innovative things. Okay, здесь очень скучная таблица, but I did want to point out that that when we started Link, we knew that we'd have to introduce the concept of innovation to the competitiveness discussion. But we didn't talk about it in terms of blockbuster innovations with incredible spending of government money. We talked about it in the context of sophisticated firms that can be competitive in their market. And one of the things that successful competitive firms need is the ability to innovate inside its management systems. Okay? So that means inside their system, or they have the capacity to improve markets, figure out how to improve products or lower prices. That's an increase in promotion. Let me explain a little bit what I mean. This will make sense to you and you'll understand how it relates to your work, I promise you. But right now, let me talk about something else that relates to at least some of our work, not necessarily in the office. Has any man ever used these? Any man here ever used one of these?
Хтось присутніх, хтось з чоловіків колись користувався цим?
Молодец! Браво! Я тоже использовал. This is an innovation.
Подивіться, це інноваційний продукт.
This is produced or was invented by one of the greatest innovators in the entire world, Procter & Gamble Company. This is how it happened. Oh, all of you men who have never used these are what go on children, you know, when they poop or pee, babies. This is what if they do it in one of these, you replace it and you put them on again. Okay, so we're all on the same page with these. In 1956, a very high-level executive at Procter & Gamble had just received from God a beautiful new grandchild. He said, I don't want to keep using those linens with those safety pins. That's just a pain in the butt, and I don't want to use it on my grandchild. So he went to one of his chemists and scientists, and he said, hey, make me a synthetic diaper. And his engineers and scientists played around for a couple of years.
Отож, науково-розробницький відділ Procter & Gamble декілька років грався з цією ідеєю. Це не казочка, це чиста правда.
And after 3 years, they came up with a disposable diaper that one of which was about as big as, well, 2 times the size of this container. It wasn't particularly convenient, but it was better than laundry that you had to wash and heat, and you know how your moms did it. And then Procter & Gamble said, yeah, but we can't sell it. We can give it to our staff to use on their own babies, but we need to come up with something smaller, something more absorbent. Really, we also need to come up with something where you don't need pins. The original Pampers up until 1969 were using pins. Remember those pins that you used to stick your child with? Maybe. So Procter & Gamble assembled a team, and they decided we're going to make it smaller, more absorbent, and we're going to have the ability to take it on and off easily and also not to leak. For years, Procter & Gamble commanded the market because they did something that's called disruptive innovation. Not creative destruction, but disruptive innovation. In the United States, at least, they abolished the laundry business that used to clean diapers with linens. And it wasn't until 1975 that Huggies said, oh crap, why didn't we think of that? We could have thought of that.